All right, get ready, because today we're diving deep into the world of gravity.
Ooh, sounds heavy.
You asked to learn more about Newton
Oh, yeah.
and all of his incredible discoveries.
Mhm.
We've got some really great sources to work with,
Awesome.
including what seems to be like a transcript from another podcast on this topic.
Okay, cool.
So I think everyone's heard the story of Newton and the apple.
Yeah, it's one of those classic science stories.
But what's really fascinating is that it's not just like a fun anecdote.
Right.
This simple fruit actually helped unlock one of the universe's biggest secrets.
I mean, talk about food for thought, right?
Gravity.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's go back in time a bit and talk about Newton himself.
Right.
The podcast transcript mentions that he wasn't always a standout student.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, he wasn't necessarily a child prodigy or anything.
No, but he had this incredible thirst for knowledge, and a real drive to understand the world around him.
Yeah.
And that curiosity is what led him to Cambridge University.
Okay.
That's where his scientific journey really began.
Then, in the 1660s, the plague hit England.
Oh, wow.
And this forced Newton to return to his family farm.
Right.
And this is where the apple story comes into play.
Yeah.
So it's believed that during this time, as Newton was just observing nature, he witnessed an apple falling from a tree.
Makes you wonder if he was just, relaxing under the tree, taking it all in,
Yeah.
maybe having a snack.
And this is where the myth often comes in, right?
Uh-huh.
Did the apple actually bonk him on the head?
Well, historians believe that part of the story is likely an embellishment
Right.
that emerged over time.
So maybe no dramatic aha moment with a bruised forehead?
Probably not, but the
Okay.
falling apple definitely sparked something profound in Newton's mind.
Absolutely. It led him to ask this question that seems so simple on the surface, but has really profound implications.
What was the question?
Why do things fall down?
It's funny how the simplest questions can be the most thought-provoking.
Yeah, and most of us probably wouldn't give it a second thought.
No.
But for Newton,
Yeah.
it was the beginning of an incredible journey
Wow.
that would completely change our understanding of the universe.
He really started to think outside the orchard, you could say.
Yeah.
He began to wonder if the same force that pulled the apple down could also be responsible for keeping the moon in orbit around the Earth
Wow.
and the planets in orbit around the sun.
That's a pretty big leap, isn't it?
It is, and that's where Newton's true genius shines, I think.
Yeah.
He had this amazing ability to connect seemingly unrelated phenomena
Right.
and see the underlying patterns at play.
So he was basically thinking, if this force affects the apple, could it also affect everything else in the universe?
Exactly.
Wow.
And from this line of thinking, he developed his groundbreaking law of universal gravitation.
Can you explain that in simple terms?
Sure.
Like, for our listener.
Basically, Newton realized that every object in the universe attracts every other object with a force that we call gravity.
Okay.
The strength of that attraction depends on two things:
Right.
the mass of the objects
Uh-huh.
and the distance between them.
So the bigger the object, the stronger the gravitational pull.
Exactly. And the closer the objects are, the stronger the attraction between them.
Okay, like magnets.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
The bigger and closer they are, the
Yeah.
stronger they stick together.
Right.
That makes sense. But how did he apply this to something as vast as the solar system?
Well, imagine the sun as a giant magnet.
Okay.
It has a huge mass. So it exerts a really strong gravitational pull on all the planets orbiting it.
Yep.
The planets, in turn, have their own gravitational pull,
Right.
which keeps their moons in orbit around them.
So this universal glue, as we called it earlier, is what holds the entire cosmos together.
That's the incredible implication of Newton's discovery. He provided a framework for understanding the movements of celestial bodies, not just here in our solar system, but throughout the universe.
That's incredible.
And he did this without, modern telescopes or computers.
Wow.
Just through observation, contemplation, and the power of mathematics.
It's hard to believe he was able to figure all of this out just by thinking about it.
It really is remarkable.
Yeah, what kind of impact did this discovery have on the world?
Oh, it was monumental.
Yeah.
A monumental shift in scientific thinking. Newton's work wasn't just about explaining why things fall to the ground.
Right.
It laid the foundation for modern physics and astronomy.
So it was more than just a theory.
Oh, absolutely.
It had practical applications.
Absolutely. His work revolutionized our understanding of the universe
Wow.
and influenced fields ranging from engineering and architecture to space exploration.
Wow.
His book, Principia Mathematica,
Yeah.
where he outlined these theories, is considered one of the most important scientific texts ever written.
It's amazing to think that a simple observation like a falling apple could lead to such profound insights.
You know, that's the beauty of scientific inquiry. Sometimes the most profound discoveries emerge from the most commonplace observations.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that you never know where inspiration might strike.
Absolutely.
You just have to be open to it.
Right.
You know what's really remarkable about Newton's Principia Mathematica?
What's that?
It wasn't just like a collection of observations and theories. It introduced a whole new way of thinking about science.
Oh, wow.
A systematic approach to understanding the natural world,
Okay.
based on observation, experimentation, and mathematical reasoning.
So he wasn't just making discoveries, he was changing how science itself was done.
Exactly. His work helped to establish the scientific method as we know it today, emphasizing the importance of empirical evidence and rigorous analysis.
It's fascinating how one person's work could have such a lasting impact.
I know, right?
Not just on a particular field, but on, like, the entire scientific community.
Yeah, it really shows the power of a curious mind, willing to, challenge conventional wisdom and explore the unknown.
But as groundbreaking as Newton's work was, we know that science is constantly evolving.
Always.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of centuries later, Albert Einstein came along and
Oh, yeah.
kind of shook things up with his theory of relativity.
That's right. Einstein's theory of general relativity, published in 1915, expanded our understanding of gravity in a truly mind-bending way.
Einstein's theories can be a bit hard to wrap your head around.
It can be, yeah.
What was the core difference in how he viewed gravity compared to Newton?
Newton saw gravity as a force acting between objects.
Okay.
Like an invisible string pulling them together, right?
Right.
Einstein, however, proposed that gravity isn't a force at all,
Oh, wow.
but rather a curvature in the fabric of space-time caused by the presence of mass and energy.
Space-time curvature. That sounds incredibly complex.
It is a complex concept, but imagine this.
Okay.
Think of space-time as a giant trampoline.
Okay.
If you place a bowling ball in the center, it creates a dip, a curvature, right?
Right.
In the surface.
Okay, I can visualize that.
Now, if you roll a marble across the trampoline,
Yeah.
it won't travel in a straight line.
Right.
It'll curve around the bowling ball
Okay.
as if pulled by that dip.
I see.
That's a simplified way to visualize how mass warps space-time.
So instead of an invisible force pulling objects together, Einstein was saying that objects are actually following these curves in space-time,
Yeah.
created by massive objects.
Precisely. So in Einstein's view, planets orbit the sun not because of a direct force,
Okay.
but because they're following the curves in space-time created by the sun's mass.
Wow.
And you know what?
What?
This actually explains some anomalies in the orbit of Mercury
Yeah.
that Newton's theory couldn't quite account for.
So Einstein's theory didn't completely invalidate Newton's law of gravitation,
Right.
but it provided a more refined and nuanced understanding of how gravity works,
Exactly.
particularly in more extreme scenarios.
It's like Newton's theory provided a basic roadmap.
Okay.
And then Einstein came along and added more detail,
Yeah.
highlighted some of the hidden pathways and complexities.
And this is especially relevant when we talk about things like black holes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Black holes are often described as regions of space-time where gravity is so intense
Yeah.
that nothing, not even light, can escape.
It's true. They're like cosmic vacuum cleaners sucking in anything that gets too close.
So Newton's theory couldn't fully explain the extreme gravitational forces at play
Right.
in black holes,
Yeah.
but Einstein's theory provided a framework for understanding them.
Exactly.
It's incredible to think that our understanding of gravity has evolved so much since Newton's time.
It's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, where do you think the future of gravity research is headed?
That's a great question.
What are some of the big questions that scientists are still grappling with?
Well, there are still so many mysteries surrounding this fundamental force.
Like what?
For example, we don't yet fully understand the relationship between gravity and the other fundamental forces of nature,
Okay.
like electromagnetism and the strong and weak nuclear forces.
We're also still trying to understand dark matter and dark energy,
Oh, absolutely.
which seem to be influencing the expansion of the universe.
Yeah.
And could be linked to gravity in ways we haven't figured out.
In ways we don't even fully comprehend yet.
So we've come a long way since that apple fell from the tree.
We have.
But there's still so much more to discover.
Oh, tons.
And one area that captures the imagination is the possibility of manipulating gravity.
Oh, for sure.
Science fiction is full of ideas like anti-gravity devices and warp drives.
Right.
But could those concepts ever become reality?
It's a question that continues to intrigue scientists.
Yeah.
And fuel research in this field.
That does sound like something straight out of science fiction.
It does.
But wouldn't it be incredible if we could harness the power of gravity in such ways?
The possibilities are definitely tantalizing.
Like what?
Imagine being able to control gravity to create artificial gravity environments in space.
Oh, wow.
Make long-duration space travel more feasible.
Yeah.
And more comfortable for astronauts.
Or what? Like develop propulsion systems that could allow us to travel vast distances across the cosmos?
Yeah, who knows what the future holds, right?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But for now, we've got a pretty good understanding of how gravity shapes our universe.
Or do.
Thanks to the groundbreaking work of scientists like Newton and Einstein. It's really amazing to think about how far we've come in understanding gravity.
I know, right?
And yet, it seems like we're still only scratching the surface.
It really highlights the fact that science is, a continuous journey of exploration and discovery.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn and new mysteries to unravel.
Earlier, you mentioned the idea of manipulating gravity.
Oh, yeah.
Something that often pops up in science fiction.
Right.
Are there any real-world examples of, like, how we're starting to explore that concept? Even if it's not quite at the level of, anti-gravity boots or warp drives?
Well, there are some really fascinating areas of research that hint at the possibilities. For instance, we're already utilizing a phenomenon called gravitational lensing in astronomy.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But I don't fully understand what it is.
Oh, sure.
Could you elaborate?
Yeah, it's basically a consequence of Einstein's theory that gravity can bend light. So massive objects like galaxies can act as giant lenses, warping the path of light from objects behind them.
So the light from a distant object is being bent by the gravity of a galaxy that's closer to us?
Exactly. And this bending of light acts like a magnifying glass, allowing us to observe objects that would otherwise be too faint or too far away to see.
So we're essentially using gravity to enhance our view of the universe.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow.
Gravitational lensing is a powerful tool that's helping us to, probe the depths of the cosmos and make new discoveries about the early universe and the distribution of matter.
That's really cool. Are there any other ways we're exploring this potential for manipulating gravity?
Another area of active research involves using powerful magnetic fields to try and create artificial gravity environments.
Wow.
This could have huge implications for space travel.
I can see why that would be of interest.
Yeah.
Prolonged exposure to weightlessness can have negative effects on the human body.
That's right. Astronauts on long-duration missions often experience things like muscle atrophy and bone loss.
So if we could create artificial gravity environments within spacecraft, it could help mitigate these health risks and make long-distance space travel much more sustainable.
Exactly.
It would certainly be a game changer for space exploration.
It would.
It's incredible to think that we've gone from observing a falling apple to potentially engineering artificial gravity.
It's a testament to human ingenuity, I think, and our relentless pursuit of knowledge and innovation.
It all started with a simple question. Why do things fall down?
Right.
And that question led to this cascade of discoveries that continues to shape our understanding of the universe.
It really is remarkable.
This deep dive has been a fascinating journey.
It has.
We've explored everything from Newton's groundbreaking insights to Einstein's mind-bending theories and the tantalizing possibilities of manipulating gravity.
The possibilities are endless.
What's the one key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that the universe is full of wonder and mystery. And there's always more to learn and discover.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the most profound discoveries start with simplest observations and a willingness to ask questions.
Well said.
Thank you.
And for you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of gravity.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Keep that sense of curiosity alive.
Yeah.
Keep asking why. And who knows what incredible discoveries you might make,
Sure.
even in the most ordinary moments.
Exactly.